everyone to the Geek Matrix. Happy holidays. It's been a small little while because we took an impromptu holiday vacation last week. Our schedules just wouldn't line up at all between the three of us, so we took the week off. I hope that was okay. Um,
think it's been a busy year, particularly
it really
for
has.
Rob and Josh. So I
Oh,
think
you too, buddy.
a little week for a break was nice and needed. So I hope you guys got to enjoy some time with your family.
Definitely. It was nice and relaxing. It was
Mhm.
weird coming home Thursday and not doing the show. It's like I don't know what I'm doing with myself.
Mhm.
I planned for this. Yeah, Josh is not here with us, unfortunately, folks, for the last show of the year. Believe it or not, he's not feeling too great, so he's taking one more week off. Hopefully, he should be back next week to kick off 2024. Hell yeah!
I, I
Um,
I don't understand. It's been
I
two
know.
years.
To be
Where
honest
did
with
the
you, though,
time
like
go?
I'm looking at the past year of just entertainment, and like
Mhm.
movies have been so. There's been some pretty good blockbusters, but in terms of like quote unquote geek movies, like your comic book movies, your
Mhm.
science fiction, it's been kind of tame. It has
Yeah.
nothing really blockbuster. Like Barbie blew the roof off the box office.
Mhm.
Oppenheimer was up there too. Oppenheimer was fantastic.
Yeah,
I
arguably
enjoyed
those
both
were
movies.
those were the two biggest movies of the year. Like I would say,
Mhm.
actually, not even arguably. It's probably just
Just
a
accurate,
fact.
just factual. Yeah.
Because I don't know. I feel like to your point, like there hasn't really been. I don't want to say like unsuccessful. They've all been unsuccessful, but I think the trend has kind of been that like a lot of the movies have been underperforming to the
Yeah.
point where it feels like they just kind of come and go.
Yeah.
I was like, I got to be honest. I literally forgot Blue Beetle came out this year. It just and not like it was a bet because I still hadn't seen it, but it just kind of came and went. And then once it was out and then eventually on streaming, like all the fanfare just kind of went away. So I don't know. It's a weird time.
Mhm.
It seems like all the hype isn't there anymore.
Same with the Marvels.
Hmm.
Aquaman came out last Friday,
Yeah.
and no one's talking about it. Like,
Where's the chatter? Where's the discourse?
yeah, all I see when it comes to Aquaman releasing is posts on Reddit saying DCEU 2012 to 2023, and that's it. Like this
Yeah.
is the last one.
No, that's
Um,
the cap.
yeah. But no, like that's just something like movies have been kind of tame this year.
Hmm.
Games even worse from what I understand. Like AAA titles have been run through the ragged shit fest or
Yeah.
I don't know where I'm going with that, but you know what I mean.
Did
But
we sorry, like time is just weird this year, but
yeah.
Spider-Man 2 came out this year, correct?
Oh, the game, yeah.
Yeah.
That might be the biggest game this year. Everything else from
Yeah.
what I hear has been so-so.
Like I can't even remember anything else. That's the thing.
Yeah, it's kind of nuts.
Yeah.
But
So
wrestling and comics, I'll say, has been a pretty good year.
I'll say, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's been well, it's been a little weird for me this year, I think. I don't know. I mean, I probably shouldn't say this on live stream or while we're talking, but like I've definitely had a couple of moments where I've dropped in and out of comics this year. So
That's fair.
I think that was
Burnout
more.
happens.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Sometimes like it's just, you're doing it so much, you're reading so much, like sometimes it can be hard to just
yeah.
get back into it. And then
Feels like
sometimes
a
I'll have
chore.
I know, and then sometimes I'll have points where I'm like laser focused and I'm super plugged in and I'm super excited. So it's kind of weird. I mean, that's not really something I can control, but hopefully next year I'm at a place where maybe it's a little more stable. And I think for me, like I think I had a point once. I don't want this to turn into my therapy session, but like I think I had a point once where like I could read 8 different books all at one time, and it was like, oh, this is easy.
Beautiful.
Great, love it. I'll knock out like 10 trades in a day, which is
Yeah.
that's another story. Um, but I don't know. I think. now maybe it's just because there are other things going on with me, and I'm sure you have experienced the same as well, but sometimes it can just be kind of hard to focus on a lot of different things. So I
Yeah,
think for me, I just wanna, like, pull back a little bit, take a little bit of a take a leaf out of the comics book, take a more back to basics approach, get
yeah,
back to my roots, and just kinda focus on, like, some of the stuff I really love, and then, just, yeah, just stick with that for a little while.
that's fair. I've
Yeah.
had burnout a few times, and there's been periods where there's been a couple of months, like 3 4
Mhm.
months in a row, where I just like don't read anything.
Yeah.
I just don't have any interest, and I'm worried. Like, this is something I love. This is something
I
that
know.
that is a part of me. It's something I share with my dad, and like I just don't want to anymore. Is this? Am I done? I don't want to be
Yeah.
done, but I just don't
Well,
care.
that's the thing, it's like it's such a weird feeling because I don't know how to wrestle with it, in that it's exactly like you said, like, I feel like I'll have no interest or I'm reading something and I'm like, I'm
Yeah,
not really interested, and it's not even that it's the book's fault, it's just, like, I'm just not feeling it,
there's too
and
much is
then
the thing.
yeah, and then I'm like, "But it can't be that I don't like comics, because that just like, that's not even possible." Like,
It doesn't make
I've
sense.
grown
Yeah.
up reading this stuff, like, it I as weird as it may sound, as dramatic as it may sound, like, I don't even know who I would be without it. A little bit, not
Yeah,
completely,
honestly,
obviously,
like I
but
feel that
there's a
way
part of
too.
it that's like, if I just never read it ever again, like, what would I do? I know I have other things that I'm interested in, but it's hard to imagine that, so
Yeah, like that's a hobby, and
yeah.
that's been our life, and you take away a big chunk of your life. What the fuck is
Like,
going on? You
what
know?
do I do? Where do I go?
Yeah,
So, anyway, that's just where my head is at.
yeah. No, I get that, and that's it happens.
Mhm.
Yeah. Um, but beyond that, like I'll still say comics has been booming this year. Like DC
Oh,
has
yeah.
had quite a number of hits. Dawn of DC, I think, has been a success.
Mhm.
Marvel got me right back into Marvel, even though I'm falling behind. Like I read more Marvel this year than I have in ages. Fantastic
Yeah.
Four, Ghost Rider, Zdarsky's Daredevil finished up. It was all fantastic stuff.
Hulk started up this
Sky,
year.
yeah, PKJ's Hulk,
Oh,
Skybound with Void Rivals and
yeah, yeah,
Transformers.
yeah.
Like, oh my god! Yeah, and I will shout out. Like, I know you guys don't read it, but I will shout out Boom Studios with the relaunch of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Even though that
Mhm.
wasn't this year, it really came into its own this year with the new creative team.
Hmm.
Fantastic stuff.
I know there's a long kind of history attached to that because everyone talks about like, oh, the Kyle Higgins stuff from like
Yeah,
2012 and Shattered Grid and all that stuff. I
hmm,
haven't really
which was
dived into
pinnacle.
it. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
I
it seems
think
like that corner has a lot of love.
it does. Like, I don't quote me, but I think because I stopped reading ages ago, but I think
Mhm.
he was rating it right up until issue 100.
Yeah.
See, it went to like issue 57 or something like that as
Mhm.
Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and then split into two different books. It was Mighty Morphin and Power Rangers, two different
Hmm.
books.
Interesting.
Um, and then it had its own stories, and they went on for like X amount of issues each, right? And
Mhm.
then it was the road to 100, and it all led back to Mighty Morphin Power Rangers 100, continuing the same numbering.
Mhm.
But that issue was also the takeaway point. Like, this is when the old creative team would leave, and the new creative team with Melissa Flores and a whole bunch of
Oh, I
other
see.
people. I can't remember who else is on the team right now, but Melissa Flores' writing has been fucking phenomenal.
That's awesome.
Um, and just takes the mythos that Kyle Higgins built and runs with it so well.
Mhm.
Um, and a lot of returning characters. Like, it's really interesting stuff. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, I
it
know
it
she's,
did feel like a relaunch in a
no,
way.
that's cool. It makes
Yeah.
sense because I know she's a part of, like, the Radiant Verse Brain Trust, which is, like,
Hmm.
the Kyle Higgins project right now with the connected superheroes and stuff.
Oh,
I
Kyle Higgins
haven't
doing
read.
Radiant Black as well.
Yes, yeah, no, Kyle Higgins is doing
Oh
Radiant Black,
shit!
and then
Wow.
that, like, birthed a whole universe from there. So there's,
Yeah, that's
Rogue
interesting.
Sun from Ryan Perot, I think also did some, well, I know he did the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Power Rangers crossover, but I don't know if he did anything else beyond that. And
What
then,
what company is publishing Radiant?
Image.
Oh, okay.
But it's like,
I was gonna say, is there potential for a
yeah.
crossover one day, but maybe not.
Well, maybe. I don't know, actually.
Yeah.
I don't know
Like
how
if
the
you have to
rights would work on that necessarily,
I
but
figure if it's two different companies like Image and Boom, they don't necessarily.
yeah, well, the thing is, like, to be honest, I don't know enough about how you actually manage intercompany crossovers to say, but I
Yeah.
do know that like a little while back they had, I don't know if you ever saw it, but they did a Black Hammer Justice League crossover, which was
Yeah.
just a little odd, not because Black Hammer isn't isn't an established property. It's Jeff Lemire and Dean Ormston's creator-owned book, so they were able to, I guess, negotiate a way to tie that together. So I'm sure there's a way you can do it. I don't know personally, but
Well, I mean, we had like TMNT is IDW, I think, still,
mhm,
and they cross over with Power Rangers, and Power Rangers
yeah,
also cross over with Justice League.
mhm,
So I think if it's terms of like if you're talking the rights to Power Rangers, how they work with an intercompany crossover, the rights to that, I think that's not a
mhm,
problem. I
huh,
think at that point it would just depend on like if Kyle Higgins and Melissa Flores are two of the brain trust on the Radiant series, and they both
mhm,
wrote Power Rangers.
yeah.
I and if it comes down to like the creator owned aspect, I don't think there would be any problems there.
I wouldn't think so. Plus, I mean, it's like with Black Hammer Justice League, like that crossover made sense because the characters in Black Hammer have some qualities that are similar to the DC characters. So like Radiant Black would make sense with Power Rangers. They're both super inspired by Sentai and all that stuff. So um, yeah, I think there's a possibility that if they wanted to do that, they could. The only thing that I'm sure this doesn't really matter, but the only thing that I would kind of question is like whether or not IDW would want to team up with Image in any respect. Because didn't they kind of steal Power Rangers from them? I would think they'd be a little upset about that.
I don't
Or are
know.
they
I
still
don't. I don't
publishing
remember.
I don't know actually. Or not Power Rangers, sorry, Transformers.
Oh, wait, so yeah, Skybound's an imprint of Image?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So I don't know. Like the whole thing with GI Joe and Transformers from IDW, I don't know what went on there. I think their licensing just ran out,
Huh. Okay.
and for some reason it never got renewed.
Hmm.
So it's not necessarily that Image stole it. I think Image just picked it up.
I see.
Yeah.
Well, they can still be mad about it.
I
They can still be
mean,
mad if they
they
have more money to spend.
Transformers was one of their. I'm gonna say IDW's most popular comics of all time.
Oh yeah.
Because it gets talked about in circles all over the place. It's
Yeah.
long running.
Which
Obviously,
is
Ninja Turtles probably the
hmm,
biggest, but Transformers is definitely up there.
yeah, which is funny because like if you actually look at the history, I didn't know this, but I had well, there's a whole other story attached to it, but I had a chance to talk to the guy who like co-founded IDW. Um, and they didn't really start because you look at them now and you mostly think of like licensed properties, like they did most of the Hasbro stuff, and then like media tines and that sort of thing. But they originally started just doing like a lot of like independent stuff, like creator owned stuff. Like Lock and Key was an IDW book, at least to start. I don't know if it's still there, but it's kind of interesting how that pivoted over time.
Sweet Tooth, what was that? Was DC?
That was Vertigo.
That was Vertigo. Okay, yeah,
Mhm.
so DC technically.
Yeah.
So I think is Lock and Key. That's on Netflix now.
Yeah.
I got
It could
curious.
still be at IDW. I'm not entirely sure. I know Joe Hill was doing stuff there for a little while, and then I think DC gave him a better offer with the whole Hill House books.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then now he's just kind of focusing on that. And speaking of focus,
Yeah, don't mind me eating. Um,
speaking of focus, I was gonna say, I don't know. I mean, we could go on for another
oh
10
God,
minutes
yeah.
easily, but
As Josh
should
kept telling
probably,
us after the last time you and I ran the show together,
yeah.
it's like you and I know. I think we went for like 5 hours.
Oh yeah. No, it was like, I mean, it was so much fun, but
It
like
was, yeah. We
I
could go
felt,
on and
well,
on and on.
he had fun editing it, but I was like, oh, there was
Mhm.
so much.
Yeah.
We were just trailing off.
I mean, even if you factor in the discussion you and I had yesterday about this book right here,
Oh, that beast, that behemoth.
it's fucking huge.
Ooh. How many pages is that? That's got to be over 1,000.
It's I could be off on the count, but I think it's 1,292.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Because
Yeah.
it's like 30 something issues, right?
It's more than that. I think it goes
Yeah.
36 or
Jeez.
33. And then there's Recharge 1 to 6 and
Mhm.
Showcase 95, 7 and 8. So it's
Oh, so
close to like
you
40 books in here.
yeah, you have the Exit to Eden story I
Yeah.
shared with you a little while back. It's
Which
funny that they collected that in there.
yeah, which I know we talked about it, but I'll be honest, I don't remember much about the story. I'm kind of curious why it's here. It's not even at the beginning. Like it's
Yeah,
in the run. It's actually after Sinestro Corps War.
I assume it was because I forget. Does that I don't remember the arc of Green Lantern Corps where they're tackling Mongol. I want to say it's around 25, but I could be wrong. Issue 25, but
Okay.
my guess would be it's like just a fun way to show an early time where Tomasi was writing a Mongol focused story that
Oh, okay.
isn't really applicable to the story in Green Lantern Corps, but it's just like kind of extra. Like
Yeah,
if you want more of him writing Mongol, there you go.
yeah. Like I think it was him that did it with when Mongol became a member of the Sinestro Corps.
Yes,
I think that was in
I think
GLC.
so.
Like
Yeah.
that's one of my favorite Mongol stories
Mhm.
because of just the whole power struggle between him and Sinestro. But
Yeah.
can I show you the last page?
Let's see it.
And it kind of bugs me. This is the last page. Blackest Night begins.
Oh,
And it ends right before Blackest Night, and you're like,
dang.
well, I know I've read it all, but now I need volume 2.
Yes. I was like, now you just got to get the second volume that collects the
Yeah,
rest of it.
I could just buy the trades,
Yeah.
but I could also pull out the single issues I have downstairs. But I know I need it in an omnibus like
Yes.
tomorrow.
Well, I hope that one does well.
Me too.
And it does well enough that they can generate a second one because it would be nice to have a whole run collected.
No, I agree.
And I assume including because if it's Green Lantern Corps by Tomasi and Gleason, I know that kind of stops after what Tony Bedard takes over or something. But I know
Yeah,
Tomasi wrote like the first 20 issues of the new 52 Green
yeah.
Lantern Corps.
You
So
basically
I hope
followed suit with Jeff Johns.
yeah. So I hope the second omnibus would collect up to that, sort of like what they did with the Green Lantern by Jeff Johns omnibus.
Yeah, but I'm not
Omnibuses.
on those Venditti. I don't know why I always get Tomasi and Venditti confused.
Oh.
of like was my favorite Green Lantern writers.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Tomasi did Green Lantern again after GLC, but maybe I'm wrong.
Not that I know of. That was kind of like because yeah, it was like you said, like Jeff left and Pete just kind of I don't know why I'm talking like they're my friends, but they kind of just left together.
Yeah, maybe that is it. I don't know.
Mhm.
But we need GLC Omnibus by Tomasi and excuse me, uh, Gibbons to do well, and
Yes,
we need Kyle Rayner Rising to do well, so we get a
yes,
volume 2.
that would be nice.
Because I want to read Hero Quest in a collected edition. That would be fantastic.
Yes, just like it's a minor thing, but I've rallied against it in the past because I know with some of the modern coloring, some of the effects just kind of ruin the artwork for me. But
Mm,
I've noticed with some of the collections when they do because they have to do updated coloring to account for the new paper
yeah,
and all that stuff. So obviously it won't look like weird. But I will say with some of them, they usually do turn out well. And from the pages that you sent from the compendium, those do look pretty. Because I was comparing them with the floppies that I have of like 51 to 55 or something like that.
right.
And I mean, the transfer looks pretty good as far as I can tell. So it looks like it didn't screw with the artwork too much when they had
No,
to
like
update the coloring.
it looks as good as it ever did.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I can't complain. They really didn't do a bad job with it.
Mhm.
All right. So before we get off track again, I just wanted to shout that out. I also one more shout out. I want to thank Josh. I know he's not here. I was hoping he would
Mhm.
be. This motherfucker got me Larfleeze. What a fantastic gentleman. I love this
Yeah,
figure.
no, he sent me a picture before, and he's like, "Do you think Rob will like this?" And I was like, "He's gonna love it." So,
Yeah.
yeah, no, I'm so
Is
glad that
that
it finally
even a
got to you.
question?
Yeah.
I have
Yeah,
the only two orange lanterns in existence.
it's like you have pretty much almost the full, um oh
Quote
god,
unquote new
like
guardians.
yeah, I was like, what were they? Because I wasn't thinking of the new 52 New Guardians. I was thinking of, like, what was, like, the lineup with Hal, Atrocitus,
Yeah, it was all the
Indigo.
core
Do they call
leaders.
them the New Guardians
That
or
that was on the cover
okay.
of, I think it was issue 52.
Yeah.
I think it was just after Blackest Night.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but they never had an official team name
Okay.
within the book. That's just what they called it. That was on the cover where they had the whole team together,
Yeah.
all seven of them. It was basically just all the leaders of each corps plus Hal.
Mhm. Pretty much, yeah.
That's all it was. Yeah, I'm getting there. Like I have
Mhm.
Atrocitus, Larfleeze, Sinestro, and Hal.
And Saint
Um,
Walker.
I
You
don't have Saint
liar.
Walker. I don't.
You liar.
You think I do, but I really,
I'm
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 wish
so
I did.
angry.
I wish I did,
There's
man.
for those who are unaware, for those who are not in our Discord, which you could be if you joined
Yes, you should
our
join.
Patreon. But no, there's a toy seller who's lives near me who inherited like a huge stock, a huge inventory of figures and stuff. So I've been kind of going there and like rating all the stuff that they have on eBay. Sometimes I can get the bids pretty easily, but sometimes it's a little bit harder. But there are a few that are like I think it's one person who's screwing with me because they always wait until like the last 5 seconds and they bid and they know you can't reload your computer fast enough and then you lose out. And that happened with several lantern figures, which is why I suspect it's Rob because he knows, he had to know. It was I forget who else it was. It was like two Guardians that I'd bet on. There was a Arcus Chumuk, and the one that I was really pissed about was the Saint Walker because I was like, I don't know. I felt like when else am I going to see this?
Yeah.
Um, and within like 10 seconds of it being over, I was all set to win, and then this jerk steps in and takes it from me in the last 5 seconds, and I lost. And I was like, there's no other explanation. It has to be Rob. So like
Believe me,
you
I
may
wish it
feign
was.
ignorance, but
I wish
I
it was,
know.
dude. But I swear to you, it wasn't.
um,
I swear on the Book of Oa.
I wish I could believe you.
Oh, I am stuck with Blue Lantern, Kyle Rayner, and Star Sapphire Wonder Woman in place
Mhm,
for Saint Walker and Carol Ferris. I have no
mhm.
Indigo Lanterns.
They have, I think I saw one. I don't know
No,
if I
they
ever
exist.
actually, yeah, there's like a DC
Yeah.
Direct one, but I was kind of like, eh.
There's at
I
least Indigo one,
yeah.
possibly Monk, but I think that's it.
Hmm. That'd be cool. Oh, well, oh no, I was thinking of well yeah, there is an Indigo, but there's also a Indigo Lantern Ray Palmer. Have you seen that?
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
They actually have two versions. There's a DC Direct version and there's a DC Universe Classics version. And there
Hmm.
was like some Amish guy in Ithaca who just had like a bucket of toys, and I saw
Yeah.
it and I was like, "What?" So I think I got it for like $10.
Oh, nice.
It doesn't have the staff though, so it's kind
Yeah.
of bummed. But no, that one looks because I've always loved that design. It was like the coolest part, and they had like the Adam and Hawkman Blackest Night tie-in issue. That was like one of my favorites, and I love that suit. So I was super stoked when I saw they had a figure for it.
Yeah. That you're lucky to find that.
Mm.
I wish people around here sold shit like that, but
Well, I don't know where this guy got it. There's just weird people in upstate New York. They just come into things with stories, and you're like, that sounds like it should be in a book or something. Like I don't know how you happen upon this, but yeah,
you know what that
it's a
reminds
weird
me of?
place. What's that?
A college kid years ago that went a couple towns away from his home, went to college, didn't have any friends, but he brought his old N64 with him. Went to one Saturday morning, went to the neighboring houses where there was a
Mhm.
yard sale, see what he could find, and he found a copy of Majora's Mask.
Oh my god. Not the golden edition, please.
No, no, this
Oh.
you don't know the creepypasta, do you?
Oh, oh, oh. I
Yeah.
forgot about yeah, that's like the Ben
Ben
whatever,
died, yeah.
Ben Hurt.
Yeah. Ben Hur.
That's funny. Um, yeah, no, I remember that from, like,
Yeah,
middle school or something. Oh my
so
god,
long ago.
creepypasta. There's
Yeah.
a name I've not heard in a long time.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to give a rundown, seeing as we missed last week, a rundown of last week's books. We're not going to review them, but we did do at least for the books we were going to cover a
Mhm,
written review. The three of us did take turns on the books we were
mhm.
going to cover. So be sure to check that out on our website. It's all up on the website, I believe. Josh, I don't
I
think he ever
think.
actually told us where the
Yeah,
written
I
reviews
don't
go.
know.
I imagine it's on the website.
Yeah.
He posts them all. But last week we had Nightwing number 109, Batman Superman World's Finest number 22, Superman number 9, Wonder Woman number 4, Catwoman number 60, Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong number 3. I forgot to read that one. Green Lantern War Journal number 4, Jay Garrick the Flash number 3, Hawk Girl number 6, Batman Santa Claus Silent Night number 3, Batman Off World number 2, Harley Quinn Black, White, and Redder number 6, Titans Beast World Tour Central City number 1, and the Joker Harley Quinn Uncovered. It was a hell of a week for a fucking
It was
holiday
a
week.
big week, yeah, it
Yeah,
was
I mean
a
this
lot of
week is
stuff.
no different.
Um,
Um, what was your favorite book? Like your number one book? We won't do a top
ooh,
three. We'll do a top one.
yeah. No, easily for me, Batman Off-World.
Oh
That
yeah.
book is so right up my alley, like, you have no idea. I
It
forget,
sounds
I
like it's up
think
my alley too, but I've yet to start it.
yes. Oh, man, because I forget which week we talked about it. It was just in the honorable mentions, but I said, like, "This book feels like it's right out of 2005," and it was
Yeah.
so perfect for me 'cause the premise could not be more simple. It's literally just, like, Batman goes to space to learn how to fight from aliens because there's an alien in Gotham that basically destroys him, and he's like, "I gotta get better," and
Mm.
it's just it's so much fun. It's literally it's like just Batman going Rambo on, like, a bunch of aliens, and it's drawn by Doug Mahnke, so it looks macho as hell.
You
It's
can't go wrong
literally
with that.
you
I
can't go wrong with it, and,
Doug
like
Mahnke did some Detective Comics work too, right?
yeah, no, he was teamed
Yeah,
up
he was
with Tomasi at the
so
start,
fucking
and then he
good.
did,
Yeah.
Under the Red Hood, like, years ago, but his stuff on Detective was, like even if I didn't love that story when it came out, and then I reread it, and I was like, "This is actually better," but the art was always
Oh
the
no,
sell for me,
I was
because
thinking
like
of Batman and Robin.
oh, well, yeah, that too.
Yeah, he did that too. Yeah.
But yeah, there's a splash page from I think it's 994 is the first issue. That's like it's so iconic. It's just him swinging through the city.
Yeah.
Um, but no, that book is easily my like I can't think about that book without smiling because it is and it's so funny to me because I feel like Jason Aaron, similar to Bendis, making the transition over from Marvel to DC, like very easily could have done, big high profile book. And I know he's doing Superman in a couple of
Mhm.
months, so this is kind of a moot point, but like very easily could have done like big high profile takeover. He could have done like, I don't know, Flash or Green Lantern or Aquaman or something like that. But like his first book is just like this almost ridiculous tale of basically yeah just going into space and fighting a bunch of aliens and it's so
Yeah.
perfect. It's like everything that you like about Jason Aaron magnified in this book, so that was my favorite far and away.
Yeah, I really got to check it out because
Mhm.
it is such a simple concept that
Yeah,
nobody's fucking done. Like
no, like literally,
it's
and
pretty
it's I don't know,
wild.
like at first you think it's like, oh, this is gonna be silly because you kind of want your Batman stories to be more grounded, but like
Yeah.
it's the funny thing is it's actually it's more grounded than you think it would be because it's like,
It's
oh,
Batman.
he's in space. Yeah, but it's no, it's literally like there's a line in the second issue. I don't want to spoil it too much, but he's literally just like you know, I may be like far away from Gotham. I may like have, nothing in common with these people. But at the end of the day, a lot of them are just fighters. And that's what I know. So this is basically like home. And you're like, that
Awesome.
works so well.
Yeah.
So yeah, that book is a lot of fun. What about
I
you, my friend?
I look forward to see what Jason Aaron is gonna do in
Oh yeah, for
the future.
sure. Well,
He's not
we'll
even just doing Superman in a couple of months. He's doing it in 2 weeks.
oh God, oh
Yeah.
my God. Because I keep forgetting it's January, like, in 2 weeks. Oh
Yeah.
God.
It's January
Um,
on Monday.
yeah. Oh,
I
I'm
know,
not
time
ready.
fucking flies.
Yeah.
Um, right, that's what I was gonna bring up though. Like, I forgot, like, way back at the beginning of our show. We're already half an hour deep.
Typical.
2023, great year for comics, I would say. 2024, I'm not as enthusiastic about so far.
Interesting.
Yeah, like
There's been some
there's
yeah,
no
there's
major reveals yet, apart from Jason Aaron's doing 3 issues of action and then
mhm.
Williamson's taking over. But I already have a bad taste in my mouth on it because PKJ's been taken off Action Comics prematurely.
Yeah, which we'll talk about,
Yeah,
because it factors into a book for this week, obviously,
exactly.
but,
With the annual, yeah.
yeah, there's been some shakeups, and I think some people are definitely unhappy about some of them. I think you and I were both kind of the mind of like, obviously, it's disappointing to
Yeah.
lose such a great run, especially when it felt like it had yet to hit its peak. Like
Yeah,
it had reached heights, but it hadn't really peaked. Like
exactly.
as you always say, like where's the World War Hulk? Like we were waiting for
Exactly.
that moment. But I think you and I were both kind of like cautiously optimistic because for the most part, it seems like you tend to enjoy the stuff that Jason Aaron puts out, and
Oh,
I feel
yeah.
the same. Although there are a couple of duds, but
Yeah.
focus on the positive.
Like, my problem is that it's only 3 issues. If he was
Yeah.
taking it over for a long run, I'd be all for it, but the fact that he's only doing it for 1 story about Bizarro,
Mhm.
and then we're handing it to like, I'm not, excuse me, against Joshua Williamson writing it, but the fact of the matter is he's going to completely run Superman at that point.
Yeah. Well,
And it's
for a
all just
little
to do
while.
his whole Dawn of DC story with
Yeah.
Brainiac, which
Mhm.
is interesting. I'm desperate to find out what's going to come after this, though.
Mhm.
Like, who's going to take over after Williamson? Is this good? I have a feeling it's going to be like that short stint on Batman
Yeah, I was
between,
just about to say, like,
I don't
this
remember
feels
who he
more
was
like
between.
it's exactly like you said, it's a mechanism to tell the larger story for Dawn of DC, but also I think he just wants to do this Superman Brainiac event. And then
Yeah,
beyond that, which is why I think like this 3-issue arc from Jason Aaron might just be a feint. And it's like this is an introduction, then we're gonna do the crossover, then we might come back for a proper run
and
from
Jason
Jason
Aaron.
Aaron. Yeah. I've also heard rumblings that Mark Wade might be taking over, which I think could be really cool.
Yeah, that'd be
But I don't
interesting.
know. I don't know. I have some thoughts about that. Not so much that I think he's incapable of it, because who could possibly be better for Superman than Mark Wade, the biggest
Yeah,
Superman fan on the planet? I think my problem is the timing. I just don't know if it's the right time. But
yeah.
that's just me.
Like, Josh and I have had numerous conversations about it. Like, of all
Mhm.
the writers we know he has issues with, the fact that he's not enjoying Mark Wade books right now is just it's insane. He thinks it's insane,
Yeah,
but like,
I don't
because
know
he
why,
he
but
does enjoy Mark Wade books, and he's hurt because he doesn't enjoy this.
yeah.
But I will agree to a certain extent. As much as I'm enjoying Gert Mark Wade, like, you go back and read older Mark Wade. Like, I was reading Brave and the Bold, I was reading The Flash, I was reading all sorts of stuff.
Mhm.
Um, his style now is so different.
Yeah, which makes sense, I think,
Yeah,
because you gotta factor in, like, well, for one thing, excuse me, DC's in a very different place, right? Because Mark Wade left around 2008, and think
yeah,
about all that has happened in the past 15 years.
yeah,
Also, it's I don't know, he's just had a very different trajectory than what you might have imagined, him doing in, like, say, the 90s or early 2000s, because he was at Boom for a while. He was doing a lot of creator-owned stuff there, Irredeemable, obviously, and,
yeah,
The Unknown and all that stuff, and then, went over to Marvel around 2000, 2000 something, sometime in the 2010s. I don't remember. And then was there for a while, and it seemed like he was happy to an extent doing stuff there. And then, yeah, just all of a sudden kind of came back. But I think doing that other stuff kind of changed maybe his writing style a little bit, or just the way that he was interested in telling stories. Because I know one of the things that Josh commented on was like the stories are kind of more tame than maybe
Yeah,
they've been in the past.
a little
And
sillier at times.
yeah, if you look at like the last few things he was doing at Marvel, like let's say the last 5 years or so, like Champions, Doctor Strange, um, the Fantastic Four mini, stuff like that. Like that stuff is it's a little more lightweight.
Yeah,
Maybe not so much Doctor Strange, but definitely Champions. And
yeah,
you can kind of see like with the exception of Black Widow, all of that stuff feels a lot more like I don't want to go quite as aggressive or dark as I might have done, say, with
yeah,
Kingdom Come or Flash, even to an extent.
yeah. It's literally like it's that meme of that the bus, the bus on the mountainside, and like one side is like happy go
So
lucky, and the other side is
yeah,
just like
yeah.
it's depressing. Yeah.
Which I mean, I don't blame him. Like you tell that kind of
Which Mark
story.
Waid are you reading today?
Yeah, it's like you tell that kind of story for so long. At a certain point, you're like, I just want to do stuff that's more uplifting.
Yeah.
And if you read like, I remember he took over Captain America for like a brief hot second before Ta-Nehisi Coates became the main writer, and that stuff is like, it's fine, but it's very much like Saturday. What did Josh say? Like Saturday afternoon cartoon or something. Like that is one time where I'll give him credit to where Mark Waid
Yeah.
was kind of writing for, let's say, not the most sophisticated crowd. It's not a
Yeah.
bad thing, mind you. Just yeah, it was kind of weird to go from Secret Empire to like, Smiling Cap taking down the Rampart. Ooh,
Yeah.
like that sort of thing. So
Yeah. Like I said it back when World's Finest started, or at least when we got to the date issue
yeah,
that Josh loves to hate so much.
yeah,
um that it feels like Mark Waid is one of the longest running current writers in comics.
mhm.
So many great books on his resume. And I feel like if he feels like his career is not necessarily winding down, but like he's done so much now, he just wants to like
Just
just
have
have fun.
fun.
Yeah,
Yeah, which
like
is
it still
exactly
feels
what
like
that
that.
book
Yeah,
is. Yeah,
yeah.
because
And
at this point,
I don't fault him for that. I really
that's the
don't.
thing. It's like you hit the nail on the head. Like, what does Mark Waid have to prove at this point? He's done
Exactly.
like
He doesn't have to
everything.
prove anything.
Yeah. So at this point, I think it's like if I'm gonna come back to DC, I really don't need. I don't need to do. I don't need to do a Kingdom Come. I don't need to do an epic run on Flash. I don't need to do Birthright or anything like that. Like I don't want to say like I've hit my high so I can phone it in, but it's like
No.
I don't need to aim for that anymore. I don't
Yeah,
need to
I don't need to work so hard.
exactly. Like I can
Yeah,
just tell my fun story about like, oh, they
yeah,
take down what was it? The um oh my god, the Amazo 3.0 or whatever it
yeah.
was.
Robin and Supergirl go on a date. Hijinks ensues. Let's see what
Exactly.
happens.
Like that stuff is fun. And it's
Yeah,
weird because you mentioned Brave and the Bold, and, like, I feel like that was almost like a proto version of what we're getting now, where it's like, I'm
yeah.
testing the waters to see if people might want fun stories like this, but,
Mhm.
it's not like I'm committing to that wholehearted. So you get, like, yeah, your fun little Brave and the Bold type stuff,
Mhm.
or like JLA Year One or something, where
Yeah,
it's like small little miniseries, low stakes, mostly just for your own entertainment, not so much
yeah.
about, telling a deep story or anything.
With Brave and the Bold though, the Flash and Green Lantern Brave and the Bold, you mean, right?
Mhm. Yeah,
Like reading the deluxe edition that I have, like in his intro, it really he shows off that the whole thing was just a passion project for him. Like he
yeah.
had a deep affinity for these characters and their team ups. So he and the I don't remember
Probably
Tom
Tom
Payer.
Payer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They like read all the back issues and did all the research in the timeline. They had the timeline in the book of like, okay,
Mhm.
this happened, this this
Oh,
team up,
yeah,
this
no, they knew
happened to
their stuff.
Hal, this happened to Barry, and this issue takes place here, and they're like,
Yeah,
yeah, like they put a lot of work into that, but it was definitely for them, it was fun work.
yeah,
You could
and you
tell.
can definitely see it, like,
Yeah,
there's wild, I don't wanna say callbacks, but definitely, like, wild little moments that they pick out
yeah,
from their history, from their respective histories, that's like you could only be a super fan to wanna reference that stuff, like the little octopus creature that Hal has, Itty or whatever
yeah.
it was, like or it's like the fact that like, oh my god, this is probably my favorite, joke, throughout the series, which is like every issue, Hal has a different job,
Yeah.
and it's like you could only like be a Green Lantern super fan to just know that like within every 50 issues, at least after the Hard Traveling Heroes era, like he's changing his job. So one
Yeah.
day he's a trucker, one day he's a salesman, like
Not any a door-to-door toy
yeah,
salesman,
tour to door toys salesman.
which a job that makes Alan Scott question his choices
Yes. Well, because
and
Alan
judge him
Scott,
very
like,
hard.
respected radio owner, owns broadcasting company, like, all that stuff, and then Hal is,
Yeah.
like, a different job every week. He's, like, basically a bum.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you can see where he maybe doesn't respect him as much at first.
That issue, I think it was what, issue 4 when they
Issue
teamed up with
4.
the Golden Age
Oh,
counterparts. It was fun. I
action.
loved it, but it really made me like hate Alan Scott a little bit. Like
Well, that's the thing. It's like,
he's being
okay,
a
I
little
think
snooty here.
I think in recent times, at least as recently as like the late or mid to late 80s, I think probably as recent as like All-Star Squadron, there
Yeah.
was kind of like this tendency to show Alan as like a little more haughty. I think they were
Yeah.
doing that to distinguish him from Jay, because Jay's very casual. He gets
Oh
along
god,
with
yeah.
everyone, whereas Alan is like a little more reserved.
Yeah.
And I'm not as familiar with the Bronze Age team ups between Jay or not Jay, sorry, Alan and Hal as I am with Jay and Barry.
Yeah.
So I don't know how it was in the 70s or 80s, say. But at least as recently as later times, I know they were trying to like amp up. Jay's a little more snooty, a little bit more
Yeah.
pretentious, you might say,
I
or a
I
little more edgy, I guess.
haven't read all of the Bronze Age team-ups, so I'm pretty sure I've read one, and I don't remember Alan being
Mhm.
so snooty.
Yeah,
But you definitely get that vibe even in the 90s,
yeah, yeah, definitely.
like during the whole Sentinel era and whatnot.
Mhm.
Even a little bit now, but not as much. He's a lot more laid back now.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He's been through a lot.
Yeah.
I think at this
um,
point they're just happy to be like back.
exactly. So on that note, funny enough,
40
that
minutes in.
that's that whole like Mark Waid's Brave and the Bold actually has a reference in their first book this week.
Do you want to
I
I'm
don't know if you
sorry,
bought it.
yeah, I'm sorry. I know you we're trying to get through this, but I know you didn't mention your favorite book of last week. Did you want to do
Oh
that or
shoot, my bad. I
yes.
forgot all about that. Yeah, no, my favorite book. Thank you for reminding me. Um, at least I read at least the books that we were covering, and I don't
Mhm.
remember how much more I read. But Green Lantern War Journal number 4. Not
I
even the fact that
figured.
it's a Green Lantern book, but like this issue I've been waiting for since this Alyssa came out, and it
Mhm.
delivered. With John just forging not necessarily forging the new ring, but like discovering the power of the ring again, and just the new suit looks so
Yeah.
good,
I
and
was a
the work with steel, like, oh
hmm.
my god.
The only thing is I was a little confused in just that was he using the was it the Genesis power, whatever, to restart the ring or connect the ring to the Radiant Dead? Or was the ring already connected to the Radiant Dead? I
um
just I was kind of unclear.
so the ring was, I don't remember that the lantern's name, but it was the one that he fought in issue 1.
It's like Varen or something.
Yeah. um and what Shepard was saying is when a lantern becomes affected with the Radiant Dead,
Mhm.
their ring doesn't necessarily like, it just loses connection to where, like, it's still active and it's
Mhm.
technically still connected to the host because the host isn't officially dead, but it also loses connection to like the rest of the network, like the central battery.
Okay.
So it's essentially just like dead in the water right now.
Oh,
Uh,
okay, yeah.
and then John Henry was using the Genesis power to restart it,
Mhm.
jumpstart it, basically jumpstart
Yeah,
the power. Yeah,
gotcha, okay.
yeah. But then it didn't. I love John's line to the rings. Like, I don't remember exactly what it was, but
Mhm.
he was going like, "You just need someone to like give you their will or something like that." Like,
Yeah, so something to
yeah,
jumpstart I
you're
vaguely
not
remember
really
something like
dead. You
that.
just need someone's will to give you the boost. Like,
Yeah,
oh yes.
yes. Also, am I crazy, or did that book just, like, silently become an ongoing? Because I distinctly remember that being a six-issue series, and then I
It
saw a
was
solicit for
to
7, and I
start.
was like, "What
Yeah.
happened?"
Well, I don't know that it was ever officially confirmed to be a 6U. Uh, Philip Kennedy Johnson always said
Mhm.
he had a plan for 6 issues,
Okay,
and he wasn't sure if it was going to continue after that. That's what he always said, but I don't know if it was ever
okay.
officially solicited as a mini. It's just that's all we knew was happening. PKJ just had 6 issues planned, and that was it.
Mhm.
But now we know he's working with Jeremy Adams
Yeah.
on Green Lantern in the future, so he's planning for more now.
Oh, yeah. No,
Yeah,
that's so awesome.
yeah.
I hope well, I don't wanna jinx it. Knock on wood, this run gets a decent little, number of issues under its
I
belt.
hope. Yeah, I really wouldn't mind if we had a Green Lantern book that jumped around a bit, like to different
Mhm.
lanterns,
Yeah, yeah.
like the 1990 series. Like I know, fuck his name, but Gerard Jones when he did like you had
Those
Hal and Guy and
yeah.
John all on that book, but each month
Yes.
like it could be a different lantern. Like you had John for an issue, then you had Guy for 2 issues, then
Mhm.
Hal, and then all 3 of them. Like I have something like that. I don't think
Yeah.
there's any reason we can't do that.
You know what I would really like? Because I don't remember how interconnected some of those stories were, but I think if you were gonna do that and you wanted to still keep people invested in one story, just
Mm.
find a way to switch out the main characters, but have the main story all tied together. So it's like, okay, Hal is coming at it, whatever enemy it is or something like that, from this angle, and then we shift the perspective to Kyle's perspective or something like that. But
Yeah.
it's still the main thing. So it's like, I don't know, let's say they're investigating like the death of a new god. I'm ripping that off from Final Crisis, but whatever. Like
Yeah.
let's say they're investigating the death of a new god or something, and it's like Hal's doing the front work, and then is attacked by like some people from New Genesis or something, and then while he's dealing with that, we shift to Kyle's perspective, and it's like okay, Kyle's got some kind of investigation, and he calls in Wally or something. It's like I don't know. You can find a way to like shift the main characters, but still keep the same story.
Yeah. And
I'd be
that
interested to see
does
that.
remind me, I don't remember what it was now, but it was a Green Lantern book I was looking at. That
Mhm,
was a collected edition where there was like very similar idea. There was one quote unquote villain. It was a character or
mhm.
antagonist, if you will, that throughout 3 different books, I think even dealt with Alan Scott, Hal Jordan, and Kyle Rayner at different time periods.
Huh. I wanna say that's, like, Faster Friends, but I don't know.
That does sound like it, but
Um,
I'd have to look it up. But
yeah.
that's I remember reading about it.
Mhm.
I don't know, like this sounds really interesting. I need to read this.
Yeah.
But now I've forgotten all about it. It just sounds kind of familiar. But I think that's like on the same track you're getting at, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Hey, DC, call
yeah,
us.
exactly.
We
We've
got
got
it.
lots of
We can do
ideas.
it.
Yeah. What the Oh, okay, yeah. That was like even like the you guys prompted me to give a Sodom Yap pitch the other day.
Well, I'm just saying, like, if it was like I mean, it's probably not the best way to do it, but I don't know. If it was like multiple characters, you could have, let's say, other writers tackling that character, still working together. But I guess the only reason I'd be wary of that is because like they tried that with Beyond and it kind of worked, but then it fell apart because people clearly weren't respecting other people's contributions. But if you had a
Mm,
group of people who were working together well, like let's say 52 or something, I
Yeah.
think it could work.
And 52, I don't know about the rest of y'all, but I liked it.
Yeah, no, that's a
I'm gonna be
great
honest.
story.
Yeah.
But yeah, it would be like if it was us, it'd be like, okay, first 3 months I'll do Hal, then the next 3 months you'll do Kyle, then I don't know, our friend Kirk would do John, and then Josh would do Guy or something.
Can can I take Guy?
No, I mean, if you really want to, I don't know. I was gonna give you Kyle because I was like, he's reading the compendium right now.
I am, yeah.
Got all the information fresh, but no, you can take Guy. You've
Nah,
probably got a better
like,
voice for Guy.
I don't know, maybe. I keep thinking he's from Boston, and I know I'm wrong. So maybe I'm not the right choice for Guy.
I don't know. Maybe Baltimore is just Boston, but in Maryland. I'm gonna get in trouble for saying that.
Oh boy, that's like I can only assume that's like someone saying Toronto is like
Yeah,
Montreal,
someone's gonna
but
get
English.
pissed.
All right, so we're gonna start off with honorable mentions since Josh is not here and he's usually the one that reads all of these. Uh, so we don't have much to go on, but we have Batman, the Brave and the Bold, number 8, the Penguin, number 5, Power Girl, number 4, Batman, Santa Claus, Silent Night, number 4, Batman Beyond Neo Gothic, number 6. I cannot wait to get into that one. Cyborg, number 6, Amazon's Attack, number 3, and the Sandman Universe, Nightmare Country, The Glass House, number 6. And I think I saw a new issue of Superman Meshi come across my screen earlier
Yeah,
today.
maybe. I
Yeah.
don't even know.
Yeah, I've been meaning to check that out, but I have not been
Mm.
following it yet. I've just been like I read the books we need to read, and I read like some of my side books, and then like I don't have the drive to read anything more.
No, I get it.
Yeah, I'm really
It's very
into
focused.
like nonograms right now. So that's like taking all my attention.
I see.
Yeah. All right. Well, our first book, official, is Green Arrow number 7. Of course, my screen had to fucking reload. You bastard. I hate when I had things ready and then it decides to fuck off. Okay, this is Green Arrow number 7, written by Joshua Williamson with art from Carmine Di Giandomenico and Trevor Hairsine, with colors from Romulo Fajardo Jr. and letters from Troy Pateri. Beautiful cover from Sean Izaxi and Romulo Fajardo Jr. I really hope I'm getting his last name right. So this is the first issue post Ali returning to life. Officially, he's out of the timeline, out of time travel, and he's been reunited with his family. And we do get a brief glimpse in the opening page of all the various times he's been with the Justice League. You can also pinpoint which one's which. You get the Silver Age, and you get the 80s, and you get the 90s, and then the more modern era during the, I guess it was Bendis Justice League.
Yeah, like 2 years ago.
Yeah. And then he right away, I'm back, baby, in a new Arrow car. I'm pretty sure that was like his Golden Age Arrow car, wasn't it? His Arrow
Like
mobile?
slightly updated, but
Yeah.
basically the same. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's
still as ridiculous looking.
Oh god, yeah. Like the spider buggy looks nicer.
It's not a good design.
It really isn't. No.
It looks ridiculous.
For the 40s, might be better, but not 2023.
No. You're not going to be driving down with a fin attached to the top of your. It just looks ridiculous.
Yeah, unless you're Batman, but
Yeah.
that's he's got 2, so it counts. So thanks to Roy and Dinah, he is still rich. They were able to avoid pronouncing Oliver Queen legally dead, so his money is intact. So he did buy himself a new Arrow car and a brand new shiny suit to go with it. And it's very similar to the old one, I think, but I like it. Looks good. He heads straight for the Hall of Justice to reunite with the Justice League, and he finds that there's nobody there. Lights are off and nobody's home. So he goes around to various members, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, even Black Adam, like basically everybody.
Everybody you can talk to.
Martian Manhunter, the Adams, Hawkgirl, Aquaman, Barry, Zatanna, even Bobo the Detective Chimp, and they all either tell them to fuck off because they're busy with fighting, or just take turns telling him that they all just decided to disband and let the Titans take over.
Mhm.
And then he finally meets up with Hal, so they have their own little bro out, which
Yep,
always
and of
nice to
course,
see.
I was just gonna say, of course, it's in front of a pickup truck
Yeah,
because that's the only thing they're capable of driving, apparently.
not just in front of, well, I think that's what Hal's driving now anyway.
Yeah,
But also in front of an airport,
of
because
course.
yeah. um so they're getting they're having a little discussion about it too, and about everything that happened, and just catching up with each other. But also Hal bringing up how Ollie has such a family, and he always figured that back in the day that him and Carol would be the ones to have a little lantern flying around. Um, but this is when they bring up the whole sidekick, and this is the reference I was talking about to Brave and the
Yeah.
Bold. Yeah, Wally already has the name Teen Lantern.
Mhm.
That was issue 2.
I know, I was like, I thought I was tripping at first, and I was
Yeah,
like, "No way."
yeah,
Yeah, that crazy green costume he had,
yeah. That
Barry
was
was getting
wild.
jealous. "You're stealing my sidekick, how dare you?"
Yeah. Oh man, that was a fun issue.
So this like that's what I'm talking about. The whole series is just it's
Yeah,
such a love letter to those characters. But
he is.
anyway,
Yeah. Um, yeah. So they have a little tete-a-tete, and that is when Hal notices at the airport after a plane just landed, some Kund soldiers. Uh, sorry, I should say that a little more clearly so nobody mishears me. Kund.
I usually say "Kund," but it could be
Kund is
to
better.
avoid a
Yeah,
mistake like that.
yeah. Because I heard myself say it, I'm like, oh shit, I should pronounce that a little more clearly. Yeah, the Kund, that's a better way to pronounce it. Kund soldiers are hijacking, or at least trying to get some stuff from the plane, running some illegal operation on Earth airports for some fucking reason. But that's when Hal suits up, grabs Ollie, and the two go off to save the day yet again. Um, we then close off with Ollie back in what can I only assume is Star City, heading into a rooftop base where he meets up with Connor, and they talk about the various members of the Justice League that Ollie met up with during the day. Um, Connor was spying on each of them while Ollie was distracting them, and basically confirming their suspicions that they are on the right Earth. They wanted to make sure that they were actually home, and they definitely are. Despite the fact that Batman seems a little weird, but he's also Batman. Something is always up with him.
It's
Uh,
usual.
yeah, it's typical Batman. Um, so then Ollie says, "Okay, so our next mission is we got to go find Roy, and we know Waller's up to something. So let's you and I go take care of this." But then we see watching them from above, saying only the word "crash" is none other than Onomatopoeia, with two pistols
Yeah.
in hand, ready to fuck up some Green Arrows. But let's face it, two Green Arrows is better than none. And I don't think Onomatopoeia is going to get anywhere close. Onomatopoeia, he never really got to tussle with Connor, did he?
Not really. Yeah, I mean, there was the like brief fight that they had during Sounds of Violence or whatever the arc that Kevin Smith first did with that character.
No, yeah,
But be,
I think that's number 2.
yeah, but beyond that,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think so.
I've got to get Quiverman so I can actually. I think I
Oh,
read
it's
Sounds of
so
Violence,
good.
but like that's the one I'm missing.
Yeah,
I have 2 and 3, but I need number 1 for Quiver.
yeah,
And like,
that book is so good. A little overwritten, I'll admit, but
yeah,
it's one of my favorites.
I gotta fucking read it. Right. So Green Arrow number
Evan, what did you
7.
think?
Is it 7 really? I don't know why I keep thinking
7.
6. Yeah, it's number 7. Holy shit. Fucking on. Awesome. Like it was fun. The art,
Mhm.
fantastic. Nice little rundown of Ollie catching up with everybody. And it's got the same Green Arrow fun you'd expect
Mhm.
from him talking to all the other his fellow heroes, especially like as I'm going to love his little buddy moment with Hal.
Of
It's
course.
just fantastic. Very simple issue, like literally not much happened in this issue.
Mhm.
um I know my synopsis felt like a lot, like I talked a lot, but there really wasn't that much.
Yeah,
He goes to each character, they have a
just kind
discussion,
of
and
checks
then he moves
in.
on to the next one. Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, and that was it. And then you finish off with onomatopoeia, teasing the next issue. Very simple. I There's not much to really say about it. It was
Mhm.
fun, and it feels very Green Arrow. It feels
Yeah.
very Oliver Queen is probably the best way I can describe it. The art really good throughout. Really enjoyed it, especially the fight scene that Ollie and Bruce had fighting whoever the fuck they were fighting. It was just fun.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, 8.75. Fuck it, 9 out of 10.
Awesome. Yeah,
9 out of 10.
it's funny that you mentioned Quiver because a part of that story is Ollie kind of feeling out of place. There's more to it, um, but yeah, Ollie kind of feeling out of place in like the modern DC world where everything is new and different, and all these characters are like changed from how they were. And this issue is almost exactly that, where it's like after everything that's happened since he's been gone, all these characters have gone through some major developments to a certain extent, and he just kind of feels a little weird. And he's like, the Justice League was my anchor. I don't even have that anymore. And now
Yeah.
like Superman's working with Lex, Batman's crazier maybe,
Yeah.
and Wonder Woman is an outlaw. Like what's going on?
What's
So
happening? Yeah.
yeah, so it's like it's cool to see Ollie just check in, feeling a little weird, but at the very least exploring that he doesn't quite fit in. So you can understand to an extent why he's feeling maybe a little bit anxious towards his fellow heroes right now. I'm
Yeah.
hoping this doesn't turn into Green Arrow OMAC project, but we'll see.
Oh
Um,
God. Can you imagine?
yeah, no, I would prefer it's not be that. But no, aside from that, really fun, great art.
Yeah.
Getting Carmine Domenico and Trevor Harrison is always a win. So good stuff. Yeah, I
Yep.
gave it an 8.75 out of 10.
Right on. Yeah, that's having Connor back as well.
Mhm.
So fucking good. I love
Yeah.
it. And working with Ollie, like, so fucking good.
They
All
just have
right.
such a great partnership.
Yeah. All right, now we're gonna speed on over to the Flash number 3, bought to us bought. Well, I guess you bought
But
it, yeah. Brought to
in a
us
way.
by Brandon, yeah.
Yeah. But yes, now this is a Flash, a number 4. We're already on issue 4. We are speeding along, haha, with this run, slowly but surely making our way through the story. Written, of course, by Simon Spurrier with art from Mike Diodato Jr., colors from Trish Mulvihill, and letters from Hassan Otsmane Elhau. This is another issue that's fairly simple, like not a lot going on, but the basic gist of it is after the supposed death of Max Mercury, or at least disappearance of Max Mercury in the last issue, Wally is in a state, a very brooding, contemplative state, which Ira notices as he's sitting at the kitchen table, just in silence, not saying anything. And as she is about to check in, he just vanishes like a deadbeat dad. I'm kidding. Wally would never. And disappears into a strange realm that we saw in the last issue, which is somehow beyond time and space and distance and direction and all this stuff, and a place where he feels a kind of bliss in that he's lost all his memory. But back at the West family home, Ira is noticing that he's looking at some of the information related to the case files of the uh, speedster like drug designer or whatever it was, that whole subplot of the the guy Chad who had somehow developed speed powers. And so Ira decides to do a little investigating of her own, making her way to an abandoned museum to find out a little bit more about some of these strange people who may or may not be developing speed based powers and that sort of thing. And in doing so, she runs into none other than Jesse Quick, who apparently is on assignment from Barry Allen to investigate further. And at first, Ira is kind of confused, like, why isn't Barry investigating it himself? But as Jesse tells us, excuse me, Barry's kind of going through some stuff right now. So still
I
trying
understand.
to, still trying to figure out where he is and how he fits into this new speedster world where he's not the Flash anymore, at least not the sole Flash. Anyway, we cut over to, I believe it was Chad's girlfriend or something like that. Someone who
I think
had
so,
known
yeah.
him at least. Yeah, ex-girlfriend, who ends up injecting one of the designer drugs that gives her momentary speed powers and then speeds off. And of course, Thunderheart and Jesse give chase, trying to at least talk to her. But basically, we're kind of cutting back and forth between that story where they're trying to chase her down, and Wally, who's still in this other dimension, speaking with a mysterious stranger who's just kind of talking about the nature of the place, and how it kind of differs from everywhere else that he's been, and that he's kind of disconnected from everything. But eventually, Wally is able to make his way back to um, his own regular dimension, right in the midst of an unexpected attack, I would say, from Mirror Master, who basically has Iray momentarily trapped before placing a bomb to detonate the place and then walking off through the mirrors, of course. But thankfully, Wally is able to arrive there just in time to make sure that she's safe, and of course make sure that Mirror Master does not kill her. But of course, Mirror Master has disappeared, and whatever plans he has next are yet to come. So we'll see. But yeah, Wally basically is checking in with Iray and Jesse. Iray, of course, has a little bit of a secret about Mirror Master, in that there is a piece of evidence that she's keeping from Wally just for now. As I imagine she's going to have her own investigations. But Iray kind of notices that Wally is a little distant, kind of weird. And that's when we see that even though Wally may be back in his own present dimension, his mind is still wandering to different places, especially having that weird experience in the other plane of existence, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's pretty much the gist of this issue. It is, I think, I don't know. It's weird because I did really dig the last issue. I know you were kind of mixed on it, and I dug this issue too, but I don't know. It felt, something felt a little weird in that
Yeah.
maybe I was just expecting more related to the whole Max Mercury being gone plot or something like that, or maybe just more of like Wally reflecting on what was it, the Folded Man or whatever his name was, and all that stuff. But it didn't really kind of follow up on any of that. It was just like, oh, Wally goes to this different dimension, and Iray and Jesse go after a speedster, basically. And it was fun, and there were some fun moments in here, but it felt a little disjointed with the story that they were going with for the most part. So I gave this an 8 out of 10. Um, I would say the weakest part of this issue, in addition to the story, is definitely some of Diodato's artwork. As I've said, where he excels is in drawing weird stuff and not close-up panels. Those look great. But every time I see Wally's face in a medium-sized panel, I'm terrified. And there was
Yeah.
one, I'll find it, but um,
I gotta
I'm
look.
looking at it right now. He literally says the line like, "What lies deeper than time or space?" And Wally looks like he's just dropped a hit of acid, and he's faded. And it's, I guess it makes sense for where he is, but it's the most horrifying panel I've seen. So
Oh god, yeah.
yeah, it's
I
just
honestly I didn't even pay attention to Wally because I was so
mhm,
busy looking at everything around him.
yeah. Um, some of the other stuff is great, like I said, but just every time there's a close up on his face, it's horrifying. It's
And
horrifying stuff.
I can't help but every time I see it, like he's only got top teeth. And it just reminds me of those two characters from South Park, like the
Oh
Hardy
my god,
Boys.
yeah.
And that's
Uh,
all I can picture. Like, oh yeah.
yeah.
It's so freaking awkward.
He's got the oh my god, what is it? The the butthead teeth from Beavis and Butthead.
Yes, that's what
They're
it
like,
is.
yeah, they're
Yeah.
sticking out like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, that in addition to some parts of the story was kind of what lowered the score for me. But it's a fine issue. Like I said, there's fun moments. I love the interaction between Jesse and Iray, but it felt like such a weird direction after the previous issue. So anyway,
Yeah.
what about you, sir?
Uh, I will say in terms of the art, yeah, Wally still just detracts from it now that I'm actually focusing on Wally. But Jesse and Irie are, I think, drawn quite well. I think the rest of the issue wasn't bad. But Diodato's Wally is horrific at
Horrifying.
times. Yeah. Um, the story though, it almost feels like it's all over the place. Yeah. Um, it just it's awkward. like I was kind of into this whole other dimension thing with the speed force and what's going on with these statues and how they seem to be moving almost in real time. I like that, but at the same time it doesn't feel like it feels like we jumped 3 chapters ahead. um it doesn't feel like it's working, like it's flowing as a story properly, so it's really weird. um and that's pretty much all I could say. Like the story beats in this issue were interesting as a standalone issue. It's very interesting and I liked it, but as part of a run and an ongoing story that they're crafting together, it kind of falls flat for me. So I'm giving it a honestly 7.5 out of 10.
That's fair.
Yeah, not horrible, but like I don't know what the fuck is happening.
Yeah, yeah.
you know, at least by issue 4, you should start to get an idea. Like we just got Mirror Master reintroduced,
Mm,
at least introduced to the story, and he's got some shit going on, and he's got a new suit for some fucking reason, and just there's all sorts of stuff happening, and nothing is
yeah.
connecting yet. And I feel like even though we're only 4 issues deep, it's completely forgotten stuff that happened in the first issue.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know. It makes me worried for anyone who's kind of expecting the payoff
Yeah.
in later issues, how much they're actually going to be invested. But
What it's making me do is miss Jeremy Adams writing this book
it's
so much more.
oh man,
Like I do enjoy Cy Spurrier stories, but goddamn, I wish we still had Jeremy Adams.
yeah, yeah. I
It was a
think
lot
you
of
and a
fun.
lot of people.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Jeremy Adams, you know what other book he's doing? Green Lantern.
Whoa,
Yeah. You know what we're about to talk about?
is it
Not
Green
that one.
Lantern?
It's
No.
Alan Scott Green Lantern, not Hal Jordan. As the best transition I'll ever give you. All right, this is Alan Scott, the Green Lantern #3, written by Tim Sheridan with art from Kian Sormy. Excuse me, colors from Matt Herms and Chris Sotomayor, letters from Lucas Gattoni, and a cover. I really like this cover from David Talaski.
Mhm.
All right, so and oh man, now I'm remembering everything in this issue. It just got me so excited. We are seeing Doiby Dickles, Derby Dickles, doing his cabbie job, driving somebody around. I believe it's Gotham they're in right now, right? I was
Yeah.
almost said New York, but no, they were in Gotham back then. And in the distance, he sees Alan in a trench coat, trying to hide away, while this man in the back of his cab, Doiby's just talking his ear off, but seems to potentially know Alan as well, because they're driving right by places about Alan and whatnot. But then we see Alan; he's avoiding Derby, and instead heads off to go find this guy called Mikey, in a shady part of town where a lot of crime happens. Alan's looking for information. He finds out that a man named Tommy is dead. Uh, Remind me, was Tommy somebody we'd already seen?
No, that was like
Okay,
yeah, someone he
okay. So
well,
I
he
wasn't
mentions that
forgetting
they have
it.
a past in the issue, but
Yeah,
it was
but
someone
so
he'd seen.
that didn't happen in the first 2 issues. Like
Yeah.
I meant to go back and check because I couldn't remember Tommy in the first 2 issues. So okay, I wasn't losing my mind. Um, right. So this man named Tommy that Alan knows has died.
Yeah.
Um, And before he can get a bit more information on the matter, the police show up to break up all the criminal activity that's going on, even though there's not much, but this is where all the criminals hang out, so the cops are going to start beating people. It's the 40s. Shit's
Mhm.
going to happen. But Alan uses the power of the ring to escape inside a building, fading through the wall. Unfortunately, leaves his hat behind, but what can you do? Um, he then meets up with Jay at the city morgue to check out the body. Um, uh, Alan is a little bit peeved about this.
Mhm.
It's definitely at least alluded to that Tommy was also a gay man,
Mhm.
or at least a member of the LGBT community, but
Yeah. Well, I think they
most likely a
yeah,
gay man.
they mentioned that he was one of the one of the people that was sort of working down by that area um, in the profession. I don't know if they directly alluded to it or something like that, but
Oh, is that what's going on down by the pier here?
yeah, something like that.
Okay. So I was very confused. Like they were always kind of vague about it, but I guess a little too vague for me when Alan kept talking about it. I thought they were just saying that, yeah, these are like gangsters or something. But
Yeah,
no, okay. I get it. Okay. That kind of criminal activity. Okay.
yeah.
Okay, makes more sense to me now. And that's why Alan was being all shady.
Mhm.
Understood. Right. Well, now I hate these cops even more.
As you
Fuck.
should.
As I should, yeah. All right. So Alan wants justice for Tommy's death, um, but based on who Tommy is, there's no file open, at least that Alan and Jay can find.
Mhm.
Um, and then as Jay tries to take Alan's side and maybe get a bit of information, like show how much he cares and whatnot, Alan gets a little defensive, as you and I were talking about earlier. Jay and Alan on opposite sides of the spectrum there. Um, Jay trying to lend a shoulder, but Alan being a little more stoic,
Mhm.
and then says he'll work on this alone. But then Jay says, "You missed the society meeting. Like this case has already been assigned,
Mhm.
and it's been none other to Jim Corrigan, the Spectre." And we then cut over to Jim, interrogating somebody in very Spectre fashion. Very
Oh yeah.
awesome, by the way. And as he gets the information he needs, quite forcefully sucking it out of his brain. Alan arrives and the pair go off to try and figure shit out together. They head
Mhm.
to a different precinct, thanks to the information that the Spectre was able to pull out of the man's head, and find a file on Tommy, but the file is empty. And as the pair, both having had police work under their belts, Jim Corrigan, more commonly a detective, is able to reveal that this isn't necessarily them just
Mhm.
brushing it off and hiding it because of Tommy's past, but um what like fuck, what's the word I'm trying to think of? Holy shit. Basically, okay, well, I'm reading what he says now, to cast suspicion elsewhere and
Mhm.
basically try to oh, it's file tampering.
Yeah.
Potentially someone is trying to frame Alan Scott. Um and that is when Alan gets a little bit sad about shit because so many people that are close to him gets hurt, including this man named Tommy. Uh, and he has a brief talk with the Spectre about his own history and who he is and how he is basically a living sin. But this is when the Spectre, Jim Corrigan, having a direct connection to God, says, "Look, if God did not want you to love, you wouldn't love. Um, so this is fine. You're fine, and the people that are against you will get their comeuppance. Don't you worry. I'm going to make sure of that. If ever there's an ally to have on your side, it's the
Yeah,
fucking
it's the
Spectre. Yeah."
Spectre. If there's ever an ally you can trust, it's the Spectre.
Exactly. Um, but then they get back to the mission at hand, um, and as the Spectre and Alan are talking about how the person that's bringing these deaths about, um, that's obviously very connected to Alan, it's very personal to Alan, someone that knows everything about him, and the Spectre Jim then wants to go over the past with Project Crimson. And the connection to Johnny Ladd, how some of the deaths are very reminiscent of Johnny Ladd's death, and even down to we need to track down and question the 42 officers that served with you on that ship. And then Alan goes 41. But then
Mhm.
that is when something pops into his head: death, then life, then power, which is the words that were spoken to him when the green flame was gifted to him. Um, and it kind of puts a thought into his head, so he flies off. But to parts unknown, we also see, I forgot to mention, Doiby picking up the same stranger in his
Mhm.
cab to head off to basically where Alan lives.
Yeah, in the
Um,
village.
in the village. But this man is also now showing red glowing eyes. Hint, hint. So Alan heads off to his apartment, um, and not really open. He flies through the wall.
Mhm.
I always love that power about the Green Lanterns. Um, and he flies into the room, looks at the man, says, "Please look at me." This man is the same man that was in Doiby's cab. Says, "Please look at me, Johnny." And that's when Johnny whacks him in the face, speaks Russian to him, says, "My love," and it was revealed to be Vladimir the Red
Well,
Lantern.
he says "Vremya history," which
I wanted to
is
look that up. Thank you for
the
doing that.
literal sorry, so I took history time. History lesson for me. He literally says history time, but history lesson for me. I took Russian for 4 years. So it's, I saw that and I was like, what? Because it, yeah, literally translated, it means, yeah, history time or time history. But the expression doesn't really work in Russian because it's kind of an American saying or an English saying.
Mhm.
So it was a little weird, but I think I understood what he was trying to say.
Or is he saying your history?
No, like
No.
basically, the intent is like you're gonna get a history lesson as to, I assume, how he survived and all that stuff.
Oh, okay.
But
Fair enough.
yeah,
Yeah. So I'll be honest with you, I did not expect that at all, especially
yeah,
when they
what a
kept
reveal.
going off on this idea that the Golden Age Red Lantern is Russian,
Mhm.
um, and the whole like you yell red motif. Okay, yeah, Russian, sure. Um, and just I never would have expected it was Johnny Ladd.
Yeah,
That's fucked. Like that blew my fucking mind. I
which
I got to the last page and I'm pretty sure my jaw dropped
mhm,
twice.
which honestly made the, well, we'll get to that later, but the conversation in JSA number 8 for this week, like, all the more
Yes.
enlightening because
Yes.
there's a moment where you sort of like hint at the history between the two, and now it's like,
Mhm.
oh, here it is.
Now it makes sense. See,
Yeah.
I kind of fucked myself because I read JSA first.
Ah,
I should not have done that.
yeah,
But how could you tell? How could
that's
you
true.
know, right? So yeah, really raises a lot of questions for what's going on in JSA, which we'll talk about later on.
Oh yeah.
But this was fantastic. Despite the confusions I had about certain parts of the story, which thank you
Mhm.
for clarifying them for me. Still, like such a great ending, beautifully drawn. I'm so invested in this story. It's really interesting. I'm still just like dumbfounded by this reveal.
Yeah.
And I feel like some people are gonna think it's really dumb. Like, he's supposed to be Russian. His name is Vladimir. How's he gonna be Johnny Ladd? Like Winter Soldier.
Yeah, no, I was thinking the
That's
same
all I
thing.
have to say to that.
Like if he was caught up in the Crimson Flame and had information about it, you best believe the Russians were going to take him and make him a part of the Soviet Union and
Yeah,
find out all they
exactly,
can. So yeah.
exactly. So yeah, we'll find out
Mhm.
potentially next issue. Hopefully next issue, what's really going on with Johnny Ladd.
Yes.
But just makes me want to know even more about what's going on in JSA.
Oh yeah. The backstory. I really want to see how they were able to turn him into this, basically the Russian Green Lantern.
Yeah. It's such an interesting concept. I know there's a lot of people as well when it was first announced, like they're really doing a Red Lantern. Like we already
Yeah.
had like Golden Age Red Lantern. What the fuck? No, this is good. This is good stuff. But yeah, beautiful to look at. Wonderful story. Really
Mhm.
captures Alan Scott in a new light. No pun intended. Fucking pun intended.
Yeah.
8.75 out of 10 for this issue.
Yeah. No,
Really solid
8.25
stuff.
for me. I echo most of what you said. Like it's just really strong. And I
Mhm.
love Like the reveal is great and all that stuff, but I love the build up that they had to it of like he's heading home and he kind of knows, oh no, this is like, is this, could this be Johnny? And then we finally get that reveal, and it's just
It
great.
is. Yeah. Even that moment, that conversation he had with Jim Corrigan about being gay
Oh yeah,
and if it's considered a sin, and then the Spectre just like reassuring him that no, you're fine. It's
mhm.
everyone else that sucks. Everyone else is diseased.
Yeah, no,
You are
it's
perfect.
just
Yeah.
awesome stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
It's so
the
nice to see.
last thing I will say about this issue is that there is an homage cover from Jerry Ordway to, I want to say it's the cover of Green Lantern #1 from 1941, and it's so good. I don't know if you had a chance to look at it, but
Oh,
it looks
but
really
this
cool.
this cover, like the one, like this one. I don't know if you can see it.
Uh,
Like the main cover.
no, there's a variant cover
There's,
from
oh,
Jerry
okay, there's a
Ordway.
variant
Yeah,
cover. Okay, no, I haven't seen it,
yeah, no, it's really cool.
but I remember what Green Lantern #1 looks like, so I really got to check that out.
Mhm.
Okay, interesting. Well, right on. Sorry, my list keeps jumping down. I have the list open on Discord, but every time I go back to Discord, it jumps away. All
Yeah,
right. Well, speaking of detectives,
let's do a little bit of detective work.
yeah,
Let's do a little
Detective
bit more
Comics
detective work.
number 1080,
All
which
right.
surprisingly does not have a lot of detective work in it,
Not
but
really. The mystery is
we'll
kind of
take it
over
as
at
we
this
go.
point.
Yeah.
I guess the only mystery left is just where our beloved Batman might end up after this whole
Mhm.
debacle. But no, this is, as Rob said, Detective number 1080, written, of course, by Ram V, with art from Jason Sean Alexander and Mike Perkins. Colors from Dave Stewart and letters from Ariana Marr. We pick up right off of crazy high intensity car chase as Selena and Jim Gordon are trying to dodge the Orgum cars that are following them. But unfortunately, they're not able to do it very well because the Orgums are able to fire a literal rocket launcher in like broad daylight at this van that knocks it over, and thankfully doesn't kill them, but certainly knocks their wheels off the road. Um, they're able to pop up, and they see Nyang and the rest of the Orgums just walking towards them, demanding that they give back the corpse with quotation marks of Batman. Of course, they realize he's probably not dead at this point, and Selena responds very appropriately with the "over my dead blank body" or "over my blank dead body."
Yeah.
Um, but before Diog and his soldiers are able to retaliate against Selena for her horrible profanity, they're taken out by none other than Two Face, who we all saw coming in the last issue. And Rob had pointed that out to me, and I missed it, but the coin flip should have been obvious that it was Two Face. So, yep, old Harv is back in the game, and he's not doing this for Batman so much as he's doing it because really he's pissed off that the Orgums tried to sick this oh God, what were they called? The asthma on him, and he wants his payback, and rightfully
Yep.
so.
I get it.
And Harv is not there to mediate things or make him any less vicious. It's all Two Face now, baby. So he is getting his revenge, starting off with some proper explosives, which takes out the bridge in spectacular form and allows Selena and Jim to escape, stealing a car, boosting a car, and driving off to the pier, where they'll meet up with Talia and hopefully get Bruce away and recovered in time for him to return someday. But before we get to that part, we have a little bit of a detour. We check in with Queen Daria and her son Arzin, where they are just going back and forth over how this whole thing has kind of fallen apart. And that's when Daria reveals, or at least she believes, that Arzin is the one who kind of helped instrument this whole betrayal. Is the only person who could have known about the plans was Arzin, since he was involved in it, and rather viciously, I think I'm fairly certain, ends up poisoning her own son to death, to the point where Daria is
Yeah.
now going to be calling the shots. Solo. So looks like Arzin may be out of the game full time. But before we get any more uh, details on whether or not he's actually alive, though he looks pretty dead, We're over at the
I mean,
docks
he's
where
pretty fucking dead.
yeah, he's like he's foaming at the mouth. Like I'm pretty sure he's dead,
Yeah,
but I don't know. These organs might have some resurrection tactics that we're not aware of. Anyway,
yeah.
but but yeah, Selena ends up handing over Bruce to Talia and trusts her that she will take him somewhere so that he can recover his mind and is able to do so, but not without some trouble along the way as they are raided by a number of forces that are trying to basically stop her mission of getting Bruce away safely. And ultimately, in the end, she's pretty much depleted of all her resources, save for Bruce, a small boat, and her wits, basically. And we cut back to Gotham, where the Batman has pretty much been erased from all people's memories, just kind of something that people can't even really recall with any kind of clarity. And of course, some of the family is still active, and you still have Azrael running around in the Asbat suit, but people are still kind of confused as to the
Which looks
very
so
nature and concept of a Batman. Um, but sorry, what's up? What's up? Hello?
Huh?
Can you
Hi.
hear me?
Yeah.
Hello?
Hi.
Oh, wait, I thought
Can
you
you hear
said
me?
something. Can you hear me?
No. Yeah.
Oh, that's weird. Hold on. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hello?
Hi.
Can you see me?
Yeah.
Hello?
Hi. Can you hear and see me?
Hello? I can't.
Uh-oh. You can't.
What's going on? I can.
You can.
What the? Hold up.
What's happening?
Hello?
Hi.
Hello?
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Brandon. Yes.
Hello?
Oh no. Brandon.
Hello?
What
Hello?
happened? Hi. Brandon, I'm here.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
You can?
Yes.
Wait, what's going on? I'm so confused.
You can't hear me?
No. Well, I can hear you, but I can't I I, I don't know if can you hear me?
Yes.
Should I just keep going?
Yeah, what's the problem?
Oh, wait, I'm so confused. I thought I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I thought for some reason you couldn't hear me anymore.
No, I could hear you just fine. It's just
Oh,
you randomly stopped like you thought I said something, but I didn't say anything, and then
no.
you just
No,
like
I thought I oh. And I thought it was like you couldn't hear me anymore. Okay.
No.
Okay. Let's just
You just
let's
you
move
kept
past that.
saying hello, and I kept saying, "Could you hear me the whole time?"
Yeah, I thought you just dropped out for a second.
No.
That is okay. Okay.
All right.
Well, we're
Yeah, keep
nearly done
going.
with this summary. Yeah. So let's just pretend that didn't happen.
All right.
Okay. Anyway, so the rest of the city has kind of forgotten that the concept of a Batman can exist, and we end up cutting to a strange, undisclosed location where none other than Mr. Simon Hurt is having a meeting with a very, uh, very. Why am I forgetting the word? Um, Very conversational Mr. Flamingo, even though I believe he's supposed to be lobotomized, but whatever. Um, it basically
This takes
talks
piss
about
before Catwoman, we'll say.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
huh. Well, wait, wasn't he also speaking in Catwoman?
Yeah. Didn't he get lobotomized in Catwoman?
No, he'd always been lobotomized. That was how his character was introduced. He was just kind of like bloodthirsty assassin
Oh.
guy. That's why I was confused. I was like, how is he? Maybe I missed something, some other story. But anyway,
Oh.
basically, Hurt and Flamingo are talking about big plans with the expectation that when Batman returns, he will ultimately be the son that he always dreamed, his darling Barbatos, which I mean, I don't know. I don't want to say I saw it coming, but I saw elements of that coming, and we've been waiting
Yeah,
for the full emergence of this bat demon. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes.
I mean,
Um,
can I just bring up
mhm,
when Bromvi's first issue, I noticed something, and I this has been on my mind since that issue, and I noticed
mhm.
something on the last page that you and Josh didn't, and that was
Oh,
the music box Bruce was looking at.
mhm.
It was the woman dancing with a skeleton, and it was La Danse Macabre, the dance with
Oh,
death.
yes. Yeah, I remember you
Yeah,
mentioned that, and that was in
yeah, and like
RIP.
that was a hint right
Yeah,
away that Doctor Hurt was going to show up at some point.
yeah, yeah. I've forgotten about that again.
I was like, there we go, full circle.
Yeah,
I called it back in the first issue.
there you go. And yeah, our last sequence of this story is basically Renee suiting up as the Question once more to find out why the detective that she'd assigned to track down Batman during that earlier arc where he was kind of on the run, possessed by the asthma, Nathan Fielding ended up. Wait, no. Was it Nathan Fielding? No, Henry Fielding.
Henry
I'm thinking
Fielding.
of Nathan Fielder, the comedian. I don't know. I'm all over the place today. Henry Fielding ended up being killed at the site of the Wayne's gravestones. So she'll be investigating that mystery further and tell them until she finds some kind of answer, basically. Um, the backup basically sees Damian Wayne fighting uh, a strange. I kind of had to skim this one, so apologies if I'm not giving it its full story credit. But basically, Damien fighting like a nightmare version of the woman from the stories that Talia had mentioned of Farhad and Aliasa, and basically that even though Damien has mastered lucid dreaming and is able to fight his dreams, he still is kind of scared of those elements and wakes up in fear, just like any child would. And this story was written by Dan Waters with art by Christopher Mitten, colors from Trina Farrell, and letters by Steve Wands. But yeah, basically just Damien has a nightmare, fights that nightmare, wakes up, and is still scared. The end, which is a neat story, but I don't know how much it contributes to everything overall. In terms of the main story, pretty solid wrap up, I would say so. It felt like we're not done with the Orgum stuff, obviously, but it's kind of like we're going to put it on pause a little bit, go overseas with Batman and Talia, figure out how the hell he's going to recover from all of that stuff, and then eventually, once he is back to a better place, will make his way back to Gotham City, which I know is kind of similar to what King did with City of Bane, where he was on like a beach relearning how to be Batman again after Bane took over. But I have a feeling this one will be better than that. So we'll ultimately see. But I gave this one an 8.5. I was pretty happy with it. Hello.
I was muted.
There we go. Okay.
I pulled a Josh.
Oh no.
Whoops. My bad.
One
Yeah,
second. I gotta
I was
grab my
muted.
charger. I'll be right back.
Yeah, no worries. Um yeah, like so this issue was kind of a stepping stone, is what I was saying. That it's still an interesting story. I'm still invested in the story, but this issue was just kind of like in between. It feels like a bunch of different things. So I wasn't as excited about this issue, even though I was at the beginning. But by the end, like there was some big moments. Like oh, Brandon's gone. I guess his laptop died. Um, some big moments like Renee Montoya suiting up as a question again, and Doctor Hurt is back. The Flamingo, um, which I didn't realize the whole thing with the lobotomy, but now that Brandon mentions it, it does sound familiar. So I don't know what's going on. The past few appearances of Flamingo, he's been fully talkative, so who knows what's going on there. Uh it was an interesting issue. The backup has been like most of the Detective Comics backups for me. I don't really care that much. They're interesting enough, but like they're really just side stories that don't really add much at all, if anything at all, to the main story. So it doesn't really affect me whatsoever. Um, so yeah, I don't know. As for the issue, the whole issue, um, there you are. Now I can see you.
I'm back. My computer died, but I'm back.
I had a feeling. Yeah. As for the whole issue, though, I'll give I'll give it a 8.5. Like I'm still invested in the story. I really like a lot of moments, but as a whole, like issue story, it was stepping stone, is what it
Yeah.
was. But like a lot of great moments.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Tally and Selena face to face again.
Mhm.
First time since I think Batman 49 from Tom King.
Something like that.
Something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
Which, yeah. Again,
So
I'm glad she's not still pissed about that sword fight. So.
yeah. I mean, she'll still do anything for her beloved, even if she is pissed.
Even
But
if
I
she
think
has
if
to work with the cat.
yeah, even if she was pissed, like
Mhm.
if she was still pissed, she'd probably say, "By the way, we kissed not too
Yeah.
long ago. Me
Yeah.
and your man."
Uh, he said it was a mistake after, but still. So,
Yeah.
you know. Ha ha ha.
Little does he know that she was sleeping with Valmont at the time. So
Yeah.
there's a whole Harley, Ivy, Janet thruple situation
Basically.
going on. Yeah. Well, speaking of Harley and Ivy, perfect. Yes, our last
Set
book
that
of the
one up.
week, Harley Quinn number 35. This is written by Teenie Howard with art from Hold the Phone. Well, okay, they fucked up.
Oh,
On the cover, so on the cover it still says Sweeney Boo, but the interior art on the credits says Logan Farber, with colors from
weird.
Triana Farrell and letters from Steve Wands. The cover is by Sweeney Boo, and looking at it now, I can definitely say the interior art is definitely not Sweeney Boo,
Yeah.
but it's still good nonetheless. All right, so picking up where we left off last issue, Harley and Ivy spend a night together in bed, reconciling their sudden differences thanks to Harley's, we'll say, anxiety towards her own life. Which is fairly understandable considering everything that's going on.
Mhm.
But they're being watched over by AI Harley, who then infiltrates the internet, I guess, and sends an email to all of Harley's contacts at the school, which would be her students, but also accidentally Kevin, who she has not spoken to since issue I think was 28 when
Yeah, when he
CD
sent her ass
Howard
to
took over.
jail.
Yeah, got her arrested. They haven't spoken since then.
Uh,
But the email gets sent out that the next morning at 5 a.m. there will be a finals review and it's mandatory. And Kevin ends up showing up as well because he wants to talk to Harley, even though he's not in that class and he has no idea what the fuck they're doing there at 5 a.m. The school's not even open, but he's there and he wants to reconcile. But this is when AI Harley shows up. Um, captures Kevin in a box, and then all the Max from Earth 48 show up. Really fucking weird looking Max, I gotta say. I love the design. Um, and capture all the
It's like
students, and Kevin vows to protect them because he, as he says, my friend Harley Quinn taught me to do hero stuff. That's when Harley and Lux Kirby PI show up to try and save the students, but it's a little too late. However, Lux was able to get a tracker on the prism holding the students, and they now need to wait to get more information and potentially just bug them a little bit and see what they can figure out. The students and Kevin are being heavily interrogated and potentially injected with all sorts of random stuff under the threat if Harley does not show up to save them. Then they will be punished, basically. Harley is instead having lunch with Lux, as Lux insists we need to just let it sit for a bit and see what information we can find out. That's when you get a bit of backstory on Lux Kirby PI. Excuse me, how he once, I'm assuming it might be they. Uh, it's a multi-dimensional being. It's really hard to fucking tell.
yeah.
Basically, Lux once had a relationship that fizzled out, and just became heartbroken after that. So Lux then turned to multiversal detective work because that is where Lux shines the best. And now Lux and Harley are off to try and figure shit out. As Harley realizes, oh no, that's not what that happens. They get a ping. Sorry, it's not Harley realizing that they got a ping from the device. Sorry, I jumped ahead. And that's Kevin talking to them. So Harley plugs the device into Lux's head, and Lux's face becomes a screen for Harley to talk to Kevin. This issue's fucking zany. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So then Harley and Kevin reconcile, but that is when an OMAC takes over, and they need to disconnect from the device. So then Harley begins to realize that maybe Lady Quark is behind all this stuff, so they need to go to Earth 48 right away and figure shit out. Meanwhile, on Earth 48, the OMACs are beginning to experiment on Kevin, potentially turn him into an OMAC. He escapes and ends up through a portal where he is actually in a multiversal. I don't remember what the fucking that tube with the eyeballs is called.
Mm.
That Lux and Harley were in a few issues ago. Multiversal throughway or something like that. But basically, a place you don't want to be in because you will get lost or go insane or both. Meanwhile, Lady Quark, in her citadel on Earth 48, is preparing for war because this is a war world after all.
Oh, wait. Actually, sorry, never mind. It's just something breaking news. I don't know.
Oh,
I don't want to interrupt you, but it's kind of related to what we were just talking about because um, apparently, I don't know if this is true, but according to Rich Johnston on Bleeding Cool,
okay.
according to a zeet or tweet from X,
Uh,
apparently Romvi's run on Detective will end with 1080. Or
but
sorry, 1089.
okay, I was
Not
gonna say like we just
yeah,
did
it's like
1080.
yeah. No, not the 1089.
Well,
My
shit.
brain. Yeah.
9 issues to
Breaking
go.
news, breaking news.
Oh God, stop the presses.
Stop the presses.
Well,
Stop the presses.
shit, that's annoying. Did
Yeah.
did they say who the creative team is gonna take over?
No, it just says, well, I'm reading the comment now. It says, yep, we started with a plan around 30 issues ish, 3 acts, including the annual last year and the oversized Outlaw this year. That's almost exactly on the mark. Also, to add further context to this, this is the longest single work I've done so far. Wow, that's it's impressive.
Yeah.
Considering he's had such a strong career to this point, he's mostly done smaller projects. But yeah, wow, okay, yeah. There you go. Breaking news, hot off the press.
Well, shit, that's gonna be interesting to see how it ends up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm. I want Tomasi on Detective now.
Again? Oh, man. The
I
second
like
time?
Tomasi on
So nice, I
everything.
liked it twice.
Exactly. Yeah, it's gonna be Seamus here on Vigo, but
Mhm. Yeah,
you know, if he's got a story, he's telling it well. All the power to him.
yeah.
Uh, I just need to fix something here. Okay, so on Earth 48, Lady Quark has become wise that the Omax are not necessarily on her side anymore, and that they're being controlled by something else. So she has amassed her army to take the fight directly to them, but her and the king, I, at least I think is the king. I don't know
Mhm.
the fucking. I don't remember what.
It's like
Yeah, her husband.
yeah,
Yeah,
Lady Quark's husband or something.
husband. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but they are then being attempted to be detained by their forces, and the forces are then turned into Omax. So it's a little too late. So that's when Harley and Lux Kirby bust the door down, quite literally. Um, and Harley gets in Lady Quark's face. They have it out a little bit with their words. Lady Quark reveals that no, I've been betrayed too. Brother Eyes are not on my side, and Harley wants proof, but you know the proof's right in front of your face. They're fighting, and at least that's what I was thinking.
Mhm.
So they eventually reconcile and join forces again. Harley's saying, "Look, okay, if I'm going to save the day here, and you're as Lady Quark is giving her the free reign of all the technology on Warworld. Um, Harley says, "Okay, you have to go though. You got to hide,
Mhm.
just in case. And if I fail, you need to save the world, save the multiverse." But that is when Lady Quark and her husband then become Omax as well. Brother Eye takes over their own bodies, so it's a little too late for them. Now
Mhm.
it's just Harley and Lux alone. Lady Quark's daughter, Princess Leanna, is on the way home because she could not get a hold of her parents. But Lux saves her from an OMAC assault, and Harley, Lux, and Liana all head off to be a little safe, but they are still being chased by OMAX. And this is when Earth 48, Bud, and Lou, the hyenas, complete with like the hyperdimensional rocket launchers, protects Harley and say that we will protect Princess Leanna because that's her job anyway. We are here to protect the royal family, so no worries. You go save your people,
Mhm.
and we will be here to help you too. So that is when Harley goes to Lux Kirby and says, "Okay, let's go get the students. Since we have the tracker, let's figure it out." And Les Lux Kirby points out, "Okay, so we have the 4 students on radar, but Kevin." He's not there. He's lost in
Mhm.
the multi-ways. That's what it is.
Yeah.
The multi-ways. Yeah. Um, and then a little backup. Another dream sequence from Harley. This is written by Hannah Rose May with art from Leo Max, colors from Jason Wordy, and letters from Hassan Atsmani Al Hao. This is the one with the dinosaurs in the jungle. That's literally the title. Harley is an Indiana Jones type character, and she's got Killer Croc on her side, and they're in the Aztec jungle somewhere, and there's dinosaurs there. It's basically what it is.
Yeah.
They're looking for a knickknack, and they fight dinosaurs, and then Harley wakes up. It's very simple, as most of these have been.
Mhm.
Yeah, but I think it's also potentially Beast World tie-in. I don't know. Just with the animals involved and whatnot.
Okay.
All right, so the art in this issue, while really good, I could definitely tell it wasn't like there was something off about it, but I didn't realize
Mhm.
it wasn't Sweeney Boo. So that explains a lot, because it wasn't as good as previous issues. Because let's face it, Sweeney Boo rocks.
Yeah.
Um, but this issue, the art was still pretty good. I'm digging the story that Teeny Howard is dishing out. I think it's fantastic. And bringing it all full circle. Full circle. I think we're getting close to the end. There might be one, maybe 2 more chapters in this story, and then we can get onto something else. But I'm loving this story. It's fantastic. The
Mhm.
mystery, like there's a lot to go on here, and it's just like I said when I was given the synopsis. It's zany. All the stuff with Kevin was fantastic. Um, the This whole direction for Harley is perfect. I never thought I'd want to see Harley as a teacher, but I want them to keep Harley as a teacher.
Yeah, it's a fun little element.
Yeah, it's a new direction for the character that's interesting, and it
Mhm.
works fucking well. Um, as we could see, like every issue, they're able to call back on it and have it be interesting and have it work.
Yeah.
So we'll see. This is the second time. Oh, I think I forgot to mention the students were turned at Omax as well. So the second time the students were on Earth 48 and were turned into something other than their human selves. So we'll see what fucking
Yeah.
happens. Harley's got her work cut out for her for the next issue, but we'll see. I for now this issue I'm gonna give a 8.5.
Mhm. Yeah, 7.75 for me. It's fun. It's maybe a little too crazy for me, which I know
Yeah.
seems shocking, but it's just a lot,
Well,
to the point.
it's Harley. If it wasn't
Yeah,
crazy, I'd be
like,
worried.
I expect as
But I
much,
get it. Yeah.
but, yeah, I think even for me, I'm kinda like, this is just a little too much, but, I'm glad, it's fun for other people at least. So yeah, no, I mean it's fun artwork at least, and appropriately zany as you said,
Hmm.
but
Yeah.
just a little, maybe a little too much. I don't know. It just feels like there's so many different things going on. My mind can't follow it sometimes. So, but yeah, no, it's just a fun issue. Just a little too crazy for me. That's all.
Yeah. Get that. All right. Well, I think that is the end of our list.
Yep, we
Yeah,
did it.
we've reached the
We
end.
actually did it.
We did it, folks. We did it. All right. So with that, we'll get into our top three books of the week and favorite moment if you got one.
Whew, well, I did not prepare for that, but let's see. Okay, of the books I think I have a pretty good idea of what I want in my top three. At number three, I will have um, Alan Scott, Green Lantern number three. Just solid issue, solid series, really great stuff all around. Two, Detective Comics 1080. Again, I'm interested to see where it goes, but I felt like this was a good way to conclude the Outlaw arc that they've been doing. And then Green Arrow number seven is my number one. It's got to be. It's Green Arrow has consistently been my favorite book each week it comes out. So this was no exception and had all the stuff that I love about Green Arrow. But my favorite moment is probably the back and forth between Ollie and Hal. And I hope I didn't steal. I knew it. I was like, I'm gonna steal your moment because
I
I know.
mean, it's not. I have a specific moment in that moment that would be my
Uh,
favorite. Yeah,
Honestly, it was just the whole thing and like
yeah,
him being like, "Hear me out. What about Greenie?" And he's like, "This is why Roy's had like 15 names." It's
yeah,
just perfect. It was just perfect.
yeah. For me, very similar. Like it's the same books in different order. I have Detective Comics 1080 at number three, Green Arrow number seven at number two, and Alan Scott the Green Lantern at number one. I nearly said at number three, but that's issue.
Yeah.
It's issue number three.
Mhm.
At number one, favorite moments. So pseudo favorite moment, if you hadn't picked the one with Hal and Ollie, would have been specifically Hal saying, "Can't be Kid Lantern" because that's Wally's name. Like, hey, I've read that
Hey,
book. I get that
yes,
reference.
I understood that.
Yeah. But because that's taken my number one, like my favorite moment's gonna be like the reveal at the end of Alan Scott,
Mhm.
just with Johnny Ladd, because that was fucking well done.
No, that
It
was
was
great.
so good. I'm still just like, oh, I can't wait for next issue now to see what
Yes.
happens. Yeah. All right. So that's it. That's us. Um,
We're done.
that's it. Yeah. All right. Well, fuck, I'm exhausted, man.
I know.
I don't even remember how to end the
Uh,
damn show.
yes.
All right. Yeah.
Some
So
words,
yeah, some say speaking something.
things, words,
Goodbye
phrases.
words. Hello.
Uh,
Goodbye. All right. Well, that's been our show, folks. Thanks for joining us for another action-packed adventure in the Geek Matrix. Um, yeah, don't forget to subscribe to our Discord, follow us on basically everything. If you're watching the stream, be sure to subscribe. If I think you'd subscribe or follow
Mhm.
us on the whatever you're watching us on: YouTube, Twitch, Kick, even Facebook for some reason. Uh, we're all over the bloody place. So be sure to like follow us, subscribe, whatever you got to do.
Mhm.
Keep in touch. Um, yeah, and hop on that Discord. Subscribe to us. $2.99 a month, American
Yes.
in freedom bucks, as Brandon would
Freedom
say.
bucks.
Yeah, $3.99 in Monopoly money, in loonies and toonies.
Oh God, that's a whole other discussion, but
It's like that was one
just
of my favorite
bizarre,
conversations you and I have ever had. Is you
just
asking about loonies and toonies.
just bizarre type stuff.
It's easier than saying there's a dollar coin and a $2 coin. There's a loony and a toonie.
I mean, yes, but like I don't understand why they're spelled that way. That's
Well,
my
because
biggest
it's
thing.
it's a loony because of the loon.
Okay.
LOON. It's the bird that's
Yes.
on the. It's like if you said like you have what, a bald eagle on your silver dollar or something,
Yeah.
right?
But
Yeah,
we don't call them like
if you call
Eegees
them
or whatever.
eagleese or something
Eagly.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Be like Peacemaker's pet bird.
But you explained it. You were like, okay, well, toonie, it makes sense because it's a $2 coin. I was like,
Yeah.
yes, but also it's spelled TOO, like Looney Tunes.
Yeah,
And that's my
because it was loon.
no.
Because we had loony, so you
But
just
why not?
swap out the L for the T because
That's
it
wrong.
rhymes. It's
No,
toony.
that's
It's spelt the same way except for the first letter.
this is false. This is
That's
incorrect.
factual. I remember when the $2 coin first showed up when it came in circulation, and that was the whole thing. They called it a toonie because it was a loony, and now there's a $2 version, so it's a
Mhm.
toonie.
I I mean, you're saying words, but they still don't make sense.
Can I blow your mind even more? Back in the
Go
day when I
for it.
was in high school, KFC had Toonie Tuesdays.
Like I don't even
it
understand
was
how
it
you
was a
can. I
two
don't even
dollar
understand how you can
special.
say that with a straight
It
face.
was a two. I'm not. I'm not saying it with a shame.
It's
It was a
like,
$2 special every Tuesday. The second day of the week was a two. It was $2, and it cost a toonie,
my
so it
God.
was Toonie Tuesday at KFC, and that was the name of it.
Have they done a bit of Two-Face going to Canada and he discovers the existence of the toonie and he just like loses his mind because it's not as it should be?
No, he would drop that silver dollar like it's a brick and pick up a toonie instead.
No.
It fits his motif so well
He would
because
see the spelling of it and his
even
mind would
better,
explode.
there's two colors on it. It's
Oh
silver and gold.
no.
I think I have one right here. I'll show you.
Oh,
I'll
this
show
is
you a fucking toonie.
shameful.
I know I have one here somewhere. Damn it. There's a dime. Maybe I don't. Maybe I only have a loony. Maybe you're in luck. Damn it. Maybe I don't have a toonie. Okay, fine. You escaped this time,
I'm so
Brandon.
happy. I don't think I could bear it.
Oh, you will. Next time I get a toonie, I will show you. They're awesome. Nah, I'll take a picture of a toonie. I'll show you. It's the whole motif is just two. It's perfect. There's two colors. There's a polar bear on it.
But it should be spelled like two, like the number two, not TOO, like Looney Tunes
It's
cartoons.
because of the loon.
No,
The loony.
we're going in circles. I can't wrap my head around it. It's wrong.
All
It
right.
is so wrong.
I don't know
Anyway.
how the hell you differentiate your money. It's all the same color. All your bills, like
And on that note,
you have
thank you for joining us.
you have to read your money to see what denomination is. I just have to look at the color.
Oh, yeah. And
Yeah,
I look at it and I go, yep, that one's the tune. That one's the loon and that one's the tune.
yeah. Because as I said, Canada is just a living cartoon.
Ugh,
We have colorful money and a toonie.
ugh, and colorful politicians. If
Yeah.
everything you say is
That's
is
certainly a
true.
way to put. At least the Ontario Premier Doug Ford is a very colorful character. As I said to one of my coworkers, like it's almost refreshing to have a politician that's corrupt in a classic way instead of the new age way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
what are the words that we say that for the show?
Josh always says it.
So weird.
Shit, I'm so tired. What the fuck is it? It's been a long week. It's yeah, I'm just joking. I know what it is. It's fuck. Do I?
Do you?
I
I'm
don't
not trying
know.
to
I
put it to
can't
the test.
think. Oh my god. Yeah, everybody has a home in the in the Geek Matrix. You're not alone. In the Geek Matrix, everybody has a home. Got it.
There
See,
we go.
Josh?
There it is.
I always knew it.
Oh,
Don't think I didn't.
so you have no problem with your lantern oaths, but suddenly when you need to wrap
When I
up
have
the
to do an
show, it's like,
outro or
it's
a
all over.
transition to another book. No, if I did every transition into outro as the Green Lantern Oath, no fucking problem.
You would be set. You could do it
I
like
could do the yellow, I could do the
any
red, I
commission.
could do the green, I could do the orange.
Oh, I believe it.
Yeah, I mean orange is just one word.
Yeah, what's mine is mine is mine, and whatever. Not yours. Love it.
Yeah.
Classic.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. Before we go off on another tangent, that's it, folks. Thanks for joining us. I already said the outro, so we are peacing out. Goodbye.
Bye. Go do something else.